Hey everyone, this is Laura Gadenik with Laura Gadenik Astrology, and I'm here to give you the astrology for the weeks of October 17th through the 30th, 2022. So I just want to start off by saying that this first week and the following week, next week, are like night and day. They're totally different vibes, totally different astrology going on. This week will probably be easier, and that is because we still have so many planets in the sign of Libra, where Venus is, and she's at home there. Whereas next week, or at the very end of this week, both Venus and the Sun move into Scorpio, a sign where Venus traditionally doesn't function very well in. And then following that, we have a new moon eclipse in Scorpio, and eclipse season is upon us. And so eclipse season is always pretty intense, but anyway, I'll get to all of that. I just wanted to preface with saying this week and next week are totally different. So today, Monday the 17th, we have the Sun in Libra making a trine to Mars in Gemini. Tomorrow, on Tuesday the 18th, Venus will do the same thing. This might be one of the last kind of more helpful moments for Mars being able to help a planet out. And that's because Mars is about to station retrograde at the end of next week on the 30th. Mars is going to be kind of messy for us for a while because it's going to be in a square with Neptune. And we might have even been feeling this for a while, really, since the mid-October. Mars, just briefly, Mars is our energy, how we take action, how we do things, how we fight and protect and defend, how we go after what we want. And Neptune can be this very dreamy, elusive, kind of magical, mystical planet. And when it's in harsh aspect to Mars, it can kind of feel like our motivation is like lacking, or we're needing more rest than usual, perhaps needing more free time to kind of zone out or follow some magical, mystical thread in terms of like I'm thinking of like following the breadcrumbs somewhere, but you don't know where you're going. Neptune can be very kind of mysterious and like, what's going on? It can feel like you're in a fog with your energy. And also the house topics that Mars rules, which are going to be the houses that have Aries and Scorpio on the cusp. Those might feel a little confusing or foggy or unclear for a while. But anyway, so this is kind of a last moment where Mars can be helpful. So the Sun and Venus making a trine to Mars, this feels like we're more able to get things done easily, to take initiative, to take action. Trines are of the nature of Jupiter, trines being an aspect or a relationship between two planets in the sky. It's a mathematical degree. And because the Sun and Venus are in Libra, Venus's sign, this might have to do with relationships, love, beauty, pleasure, sex, justice. Libra is a sign about justice and equality. So there might be something that's easy to take action on regarding those topics, regarding maybe taking action on like a political issue or a relationship issue, being more assertive. There could be like high attraction levels between you and someone else, a boldness in style and art and fashion, wanting to do something bold and courageous with your style. This has been building for like a week or so, and I don't know, I got my hair cut last week, and that feels like kind of a bold move. It feels like Venus trine Mars. So that is Monday and Tuesday. So today and tomorrow, the 17th and 18th, we'll be feeling that energy. On Wednesday, the 19th, also through the 20th, we have the Sun and Venus in Libra making a square to Pluto. So this feels more like an intense moment in relationships, perhaps relationship repair, hopefully. Pluto is a planet about getting to the bottom of something, revealing the dynamics of a relationship, whether it's muck or whether it's gold, right? Pluto is all things underground. And what's underground? Sometimes it's gold, sometimes it's skeletons, you know? And so this might involve having cathartic conversations around relationships, Or maybe there's just an intense undercurrent between you and someone else that you're in a contract with or in an agreement with, whether that's like a romantic agreement or more of like a work agreement. This could be a moment of truth in relationships, really speaking what you really think and feel. It can be kind of revealing. This also might be about having deep realizations around your worth and your value. And I say that because Venus is a planet about what we value and worth, what things are, how things are valuable, how much things are worth, and that could include you or something else. So there could be some deeper realizations around what you value, what your values are, in addition to like your own sense of valuableness and worthiness, as well as desires. What do you want? That can be part of this Venus and the Sun square Pluto. The same day, Mercury in Libra is making an opposition to Chiron, so it makes me think that this might be around relationships in particular, because Chiron's involved, and Chiron is the wounded healer and can be about where we feel some pain or woundedness. And Mercury is the planet of conversations and messages. And so this makes me think that there's some sort of conversation around a pain or a wound, whether that's like talking about it with someone about how your feelings were hurt, or talking to someone about something that they've been struggling with. It could be either one, really. Okay, Saturday the 22nd, Mercury in Libra makes a trine to Saturn, and then Saturn also stations direct on this day. Mercury is in Venus's sign in Libra, so this feels like perhaps a conversation around longevity in relationships, or maybe like just realizations or thoughts. Mercury, once again, representing the mind. Thoughts, conversations, messages around longevity, what we're committed to, what are the structures that hold our relationships. Are they working? Are they sturdy? Do they have solid ground? Those kinds of themes. The idea of commitment, relationships taking effort, perhaps conversations around the future or planning something in the future. Saturn is a planet about time and age, things that take time, as well as sustainability. So things that, how do we sustain this? How do we keep this going? And also like, I want to do this thing with you next summer. What's our plan? So those kinds of conversations. On the same day, Saturday the 22nd is a really special day, actually, because we have Venus conjoining the Sun in Libra in her own sign, which makes it especially beautiful and delicious and just all the good things. So this is really significant because Venus, and I just learned this actually on I'm learning it now on Chris Brennan's Astrology podcast, as well as the Chani Nicholas Astrology app. She does like a weekly reading. But apparently Venus conjoins the Sun around this time every year, but the past 180 years or something, don't quote me on that, for a long time it's been happening in Scorpio. And so this is like the first time that Venus and the Sun are coming together in the sign of Libra, which feels like a big shift because Venus in Scorpio she struggles there. Venus struggles in the sign of Scorpio, whereas Venus in Libra, she's she rules Libra. She's at home in this sign. And so Venusian topics or themes will come about more easily. And so whenever a planet conjoins the Sun, that planet gets like a special illumination, a special light. It's almost like the Sun representing a king. And it's almost like the planet that is conjoined the Sun, right on top of the Sun. It gets like a special message from the king. And so there's something around your Libra house, whatever house that is for you. Something gets illuminated, highlighted. There's maybe a new beginning or new awareness around this area of the chart. There might be some insight into just Venusian topics, such as relationships, love, art, beauty, justice, value, worth, women. Venus rules women as well. So just pay attention to what's going on for you internally and externally as well. It's as within, so without. And the idea that like our inner reality can be reflected in our external reality. So, and you know, this, because Venus is so close to the sun on this day, like she's like right there, it might be that you might not see the fruits of this moment until later. It's almost like planting a seed. It's like a new moon, right? Like new moons are when the moon and the sun conjoin. And it's a time of planting an intention. And the same could be said for this moment with Libra, or with Venus, excuse me, planting an intention around Venusian topics. This is a really good time for that. But you might, my phone battery almost died, so I just had to click something. But anyway, you might not like know what it is, like the results of this moment until later down the line. So just want to put that out there. Okay, Sunday the 23rd, this is the mood change. This is when Venus and the sun head into Scorpio early in the morning, like at like 1 a.m. and like 3 a.m. or something like that. Scorpio is a sign about the depths. Scorpio is a sign about life and death circumstances, and that's where that intensity of Scorpio comes from. And this is because this is the time of year where everything is dying in the northern hemisphere. Everything, we did the harvest in Virgo and Libra season. Things are still being able to be picked from the trees and from the gardens, and we're enjoying that. But Scorpio season, things are kind of like dying, right? Like things are going to seed. So there's this air of death in the air. And so this is where that quality of life and death stakes comes from. Scorpio season, if things are dying, we're not really going to see life or spring or abundance again until Taurus season, 6 months later. So with the sun and Venus heading into Scorpio, there's a more intense feel to relationships. Venus, once again, being about relationships. This might be a time period where you're getting deeper into relationship issues, what's working, what's not working. Things all of a sudden become more serious and perhaps tense. And that's because, Libra is a sign that is all about etiquette, being polite, keeping things light and easy. It's a sign about agreements too, and contracts, and like what works for you, what works for me. Like, let's figure this out. Compromise, getting along. Venus and Libra is about let's get along, right? Venus and Scorpio is more like, I have these needs that I can't compromise on. And, there's more of an intense of like, we have to work this out, like, kind of feel. And there can be sometimes more jealousy or possessiveness, or working through relationship issues, attachment issues with Venus and Libra, or Venus and Scorpio. So it's just going to be more intense, more serious than we've been having the last couple of weeks. And this is also going to highlight the Scorpio house in your chart. So whichever house has Scorpio on the cusp of the house, that's going to be coming into focus over the next several weeks. Okay, so then on Tuesday the 25th, this is when we have a new moon eclipse at 2 degrees of Scorpio, and this is going to be conjunct on top of, essentially, Venus and the sun in Scorpio. So eclipses are times of change, times of great endings and great beginnings. And they don't happen all at once. Eclipses happen, they happen in a pair of signs, opposing signs, for about like 18 months. So they happen like once every 6 months for about 18 months. So this is the, I believe, third set of eclipses that we've had in the Scorpio-Taurus axis. Scorpio and Taurus are opposite signs, so that's where the eclipses are happening right now. And so once again, whatever house whatever house that you have Scorpio and Taurus on the cusps of, these houses are what's undergoing change. This year, starting last year, it was last year in October that these eclipses started happening in this area of the sky. And so it's eclipse season again. So it's going to be 2 weeks of kind of intense stuff. I would say best not to make any intentions on this new moon eclipse. Kind of lay low, take care of yourselves. Don't stress yourselves out. Eclipse season can be kind of erratic and maybe overwhelming. So take care of yourself. But yeah, this is going to be highlighting changes or things that are needing to be changed or adjusted in the Scorpio and Taurus parts of your chart. And in particular, this one is about the Scorpio house. So this might be, once again, regarding relationships, Venusian topics, contracts, love, agreements, sex, beauty, justice. So that's coming up, and that's going to be total different energy than this week. And then we'll have like the next eclipse. It'll be in Taurus. I think it's around October 8th. Don't quote me on that, but there's basically, this is the time period where it's like the new moon and the full moon right now are when the eclipses are, and lots of changes happening around this time. And I also forgot to mention, the changes can take up to like a year to really come about, basically, from an eclipse. So it's not necessarily that a bunch of changes are coming right now during eclipse season. It might take weeks, days, months, up to a year. So Wednesday the 26th, Mercury is trining Mars in Libra. Mercury is going to be traveling territory that the Venus and the Sun kind of just went through. So this might be echoes of the week before, perhaps negotiating something, having, mental energy for planning, or perhaps like debate about something. On Thursday the 27th, Mercury makes that square to Pluto that Venus and the Sun made. This might be echoes of, once again, the week before, around a cathartic conversation about a relationship or an agreement, or perhaps just around your Libra house, whatever that is. Truth telling, there's the qualities of like truth telling, negotiation, getting deeply in touch with, once again, your values and your sense of self-worth and what you're wanting. And then Jupiter heads into Pisces, retrogrades back into Pisces for about 6 weeks. So we're going to get this like Jupiter in Pisces, which Jupiter is at home in Pisces. So it's like, on the one hand, like really good, like whatever house that you have Pisces on the cusp of, that's going to get inundated again with some more positive qualities, perhaps opportunities. And then it's going to go back into Aries in December sometime. I don't quite remember the date, but Jupiter in Pisces feels kind of like a desire for escaping or relaxing or finding an ocean or a beach or a spiritual outlet. It's not a productive placement for Jupiter. Jupiter in a water sign, especially like Pisces, there's a need for an escapism and a need for experiencing something beyond necessarily the mundaneness of this reality. And this kind of goes hand in hand with, the fact that Mars is in a square to Neptune for so long. I talked about that at the beginning of this video. Mars being our energy, Neptune being this kind of elusive, dreamy planet. When Jupiter heads back into Pisces, it's going to be making a loose square to Mars, kind of exasperating, I'm not sure if I said that word right, making bigger these themes of just like, perhaps it might be that you're feeling really tired of something, that you're just like, oh, I'm so done with this, like I just need to let this go, or I can't do this anymore. There might be just feelings of needing a break. And I also say that too because in October this month, Saturn and Uranus are coming very, very close to a square with each other again. it's not going to be exact, but it's almost there. And so there's this maybe like feeling of wanting to shake something up, turn something upside down, wanting to leave something behind, like being really tired of something, feeling like you need to free yourself. And really it's about innovating, like innovating the existing structures in your life that perhaps aren't quite working for you, or a bit outdated, like innovating the structures essentially, and the systems that keep you upright, keep you going, right? Saturn rules the bones in the body. So it's the inherent structure of our bodies. And you can apply that idea to your life, right? Saturn being the structures and systems that keep us upright in our lives, but sometimes they need to be fixed, or sometimes they are broken and need to be renewed in some way. So find some way to renew yourself, find some way to give yourself a break and try something new and different, but don't totally like upheaval your whole world and your whole life. Okay. And then Saturday the 29th, moon's in Capricorn, Mercury heads into Scorpio. Now we have 3 planets in Scorpio. This is a very like duty focused day, responsibilities, moon in Capricorn. Also the mind, Mercury turns even more so towards the Scorpio house in your chart. And there's just more of an intensity around this time. And maybe thoughts around like longevity, or what lasts, what's truly important, what's under the surface and not being seen or said out loud. And Mercury in Scorpio is very good at seeing the bullshit and saying it, like seeing what's not being said and being like, we need to talk about this. So Mercury will be in Scorpio for a couple of weeks. I'm not quite sure how long, but definitely up to like three weeks or so. And then Sunday the 30th is when Mars stations retrograde at 25 degrees of Gemini, once again square to Neptune, planet of dreams, of longing, of grief, of needing to escape, of altered states of consciousness. And this will be felt really until the end of November. Mars is going to be retrograde in Gemini until January 12th. So we have a really long time of this. And it's going to be in Gemini in general, like including being retrograde and turning direct and moving forwards again until March 26th. So long time. And what we're going to be doing during this Mars retrograde, Mars is going to be traveling over the same territory, hypothetically speaking, not like actually in the sky, but symbolically. It's going to be reviewing the part of the sky that it just traveled through since September 4th. So thinking back to September 4th, we're going to be kind of reviewing or going back over the things that have been happening for us from September 4th through October 30th, this about 6-week period. And in particular, you're going to be reviewing the Gemini part of your house, like part of your chart, whatever house has Gemini on the cusp. For me, for instance, I have Gemini rising. This is going to be happening in my first house. So this is going to be themes around identity, how I express myself, how I look, perhaps, like my body, relationships, right? First house is the house of self. 7th house, the opposite house, is the house of relationships. So definitely like self and autonomy in relationships. What else? Those are kind of the main themes for me. So if you know what house, second house, if you have Gemini in the second house and Mars is retrograding there, you're going to be reviewing money, finances, your personal belongings, your personal space, your values. Third house might be about like siblings, communications, what you're learning, maybe a class or a course you're taking. Fourth house, home, family, land, ancestors, roots. Fifth house, pleasure, fun, joy, sports, children, games. I'm just going very briefly. So if Mars is retrograding in your 6th house, it's going to be a review or reflection on work, service, health, what you do for work, your daily routines, and kind of like fine tuning that. 7th house, relationships, your partner may be going through something or reviewing something. 8th house might be like debts. I'm not going to continue, but you can find the house topics online or on my website, I think under freebies. My website is lauragadenic.com. So anyway, there's a lot going on the next couple weeks. I feel like I need to wrap up this video because it's been kind of long. If you're curious about how this astrology is impacting you, I am available for readings. Please reach out. Otherwise, I'll be back in a couple weeks with another update. Okay, bye.